Madam Moderator, Paula Ann Porter-Jones, Dr. Arun Kashyap, Resident Coordinator of the UNDP, Mr. Matondo Mukulu, Acting Public Defender, Excellencies of the Diplomatic Corps, members of the UN family, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant good afternoon to you all.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Madam Moderator, I know that you are in charge here, but I am going to respectfully disabuse your mind of one thing. I am not going to leave here without hearing people excerpt from Venus, dance and excerpts from the play, and remarks from other persons. I am going to be here with you. I am pleased to have been afforded the opportunity to participate in this event to mark the 66th anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Adopted on the 10th of December 1948, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, although not legally binding in itself, is widely recognized and accepted as a common standard of achievement for human rights of all peoples and nations, and has inspired and paved the way for the conclusion of several other human rights instruments. Human rights provide the legal framework for the realization of all range of civil, political, and social rights. That is what the Universal Declaration of Human Rights is all about. The International Convention on Elimination of All Forms of Racial Discrimination, the Convention on Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination against Women, and the Convention on the Rights of the Child are but a few of the core international human rights conventions which have punctuated the human rights landscape and have coalesced the international community in its efforts to protect its citizens. Inspired by the tenets of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, Jamaica boldly, and you know that Jamaica is never shy, Jamaica boldly took to the international stage in 1963, only a year after gaining political independence, calling for the year 1968 to be designated the International Year of Human Rights, to mark the 20th anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. We also proposed at that time the convening of an international conference to review progress in the field of human rights. And that event, which was subsequently held in Tehran, Iran, in May of 1968, adopted a proclamation which, inter alia, posited a link between the enjoyment of civil and political rights as well as an unequivocal interconnection between the realization of human rights and economic development. Jamaica's long-standing commitment to the international human rights agenda was also manifested in the international role that we played in the fight against apartheid in South Africa, and the support we provided for the liberation struggles in Angola, Namibia, and Mozambique. These efforts serve not only to demonstrate our steadfast opposition to racism and racial discrimination, but also our abiding commitment to the promotion and protection of human rights. Jamaica has never lost sight of the fact that human rights and fundamental freedoms are the inherent birthright of every human being, and that respect for human rights and for fundamental freedoms, without distinction of any kind, is a fundamental rule of international human rights law. The breach of human rights of persons in any part of the globe, therefore, constitutes a breach of human rights everywhere. Madam Chairperson, while the government of Jamaica is pleased with the tremendous progress which we have achieved over the years, we acknowledge that there is room for improvement, and therefore we cannot become complacent. We continue to explore ways to enhance the protection of the human rights of our citizens and improve their daily lives. Efforts are currently underway to enhance the institutional framework for the provision of oversight in relation to Jamaica's human rights machinery. A process is also in train to review several key pieces of domestic legislation, including the Sexual Offences Act, the Domestic Violence Act, and the Child Care and Protection Act. And the government continues to pay special attention to the most vulnerable among us. Last October, the legislature approved the Disabilities Act, which builds on our national policy for persons with disability, approved by the Parliament in the year 2000. And as part of our social protection system, the Program of Advancement Through Health and Education, the PATH, introduced in 2002, remains one of the key initiatives being undertaken to protect the most vulnerable groups among us through the provision of cash benefits and economic opportunities, including skills training and access to employment so as to improve their quality of life. And trafficking in persons, in particular children, has emerged as an issue of growing concern in Jamaica in the last few years. Under the aegis of the National Task Force Against Trafficking in Persons, headquartered in the Ministry of Justice, we have been undertaking several initiatives aimed at combating trafficking of our nationals. A number of sensitization sessions have been held and are being planned in order to ensure that our citizens are aware of the dangers that are involved. This is also crucial if we are to successfully end this scourge. And we are heartened by the fact that one of the basic purposes and principles of the UN Charter is to achieve international cooperation in promoting and encouraging respect for human rights and fundamental freedoms for all,